What's up, fiends? Alucard here. Today I have something a little different for you. I have recently attended the 2023 Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando, Florida. It is the premier Halloween event in the Orlando area. This year it runs on select nights from September 1st through November the 4th. There are 10 brand new houses this year, along with 5 new scare zones. Today, I'm going to rank all of the houses. Yep, we did them all. So let's do this. All right, so let me preface this by saying this year really brought it. They've outdone themselves with possibly the strongest lineup of houses, but unfortunately, my least favorite was one of my most anticipated. Coming in at number 10, we have Chucky Ultimate Kill Count. Yep, this year the Chucky house was located in the Fast and the Furious ride queue. Now that's a mashup I'd watch. Chucky versus the family. Come on, let's do this, people. So anyway, we are greeted by Chucky appearing on the monitors in the queue, and he highlights some of the best kills from the TV show. There's a funny bit where he keeps trying to curse, but they keep bleeping him out. As you enter the actual house, you get a Chucky animatronic inviting you in, followed by some random people getting killed in various ways. Chucky appears a few times in different forms, most notably through puppetry or video screens. There's a lot of video screens in this one. Lots of strobes and monitors kind of everywhere. It was just kind of okay. Nothing really stood out, unfortunately. Um, Now, I watched a video of the Halloween Horror Nights in Hollywood, and that Chucky house seems pretty killer, pun intended. Orlando seems to have gotten the crappy Chucky house, so therefore, that's why it lands at number 10. Coming in at number 9, another house I was really excited for, Universal Monsters Unmasked. Universal has been doing a classic Monsters house for the last few years, and this year the players, if you will, are the Phantom of the Opera, the Hunchback of Notre Dame, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and the Invisible Man. In this house, you descend into the catacombs of Paris, where you encounter France's own monsters, the Phantom and the Hunchback, as well as Dr. Jekyll's medicine show, which is passing through Paris, and the Invisible Man as he runs from the law. Some really great practical sets here, with my favorite being a bungee scare with the Hunchback falling down the cathedral. What I did not like about this house was the darkness. It was so damn dark. We could barely see anything. We literally ran into a wall. That's how dark it was. So that was really annoying. Also, this house heavily features the Phantom, more so than the other monsters. I think I saw Hyde once, maybe twice. What I could see was pretty cool and great. It just really needs better lighting. Because I mean, I don't like running into a wall when that's not supposed to be part of the gag. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's why that one falls at number 9. All right, coming in at number 8, we have our first original house. What Universal does is they have like half of them IP houses and half of them original houses. So this is the first one on the list from the original houses, and which is, by the way, my shirt is all of the original houses. There you go. So first up at number 8, we have Blood Moon Dark Offerings. This one's about a cult of moon worshippers in a colonial era village called Parish Town, and they witness a blood moon rising during their fall festival. So they take it as a sign to sacrifice the false-hearted non-believers. You enter the mill in Paris Town, where Constance is holding court with her followers, preaching that the blood moon has risen and she demands sacrifices. The followers are basically trying to sacrifice you. There's a pretty neat backstory to the house that you can hear on the Universal podcast. Um, there's a couple of generally creepy moments in the house, including a church scene where the cultists are praying and reaching for you, and it's you walk like right down the middle of the aisle. It's pretty cool. And there's also a town square scene where the children are standing around a maypole looking contraption, and they're all just still and just like creepy looking. Some other highlights include a lady being crucified with like burning candles all over her. That's a really cool image. And also, there's a hooded figure atop the bell tower right before you enter the church scene. Again, really cool sets here. But besides the couple of moments that I just mentioned, I did find it slightly dull. Now, to be fair, this was the last house that we walked through, and we were extremely tired. We walked, I think, 17 and a half miles that day. So, yeah. All right, next up at number 7, we have another original house. This time it's Yeti Campground Kills. In this house, you travel to the Rocky Mountains 1950s campground massacre at Shadow Creek State Park. You walk through cabins, a bait shack, an outhouse, and a couple other places, and you're trying to make it safely to the radio tower so you can escape. To be honest, this one was another one I was really looking forward to, as I love Bigfoot and Sasquatch, Yeti, or whatever you want to call them. And in this one, the Yeti costumes are humongous. These guys are all lunging after you and like towering over you, and they get really close too. I thought that was kind of cool. And they even tear off some actors' limbs and stuff. And it's fun stuff. Nothing too like outrageously original or anything, but it was definitely effective. And like I said, I have a soft spot for Bigfoot and Yetis and all that stuff. So this one comes in at number 7 for me. All right, coming in at number 6, we have Dr. Oddfellow's Twisted Origins. All right, so this time we've come to the icon of this year's event, Dr. Oddfellow. He presides over the event as sort of a host, and he actually we got a guy actually roaming the grounds dressed as Dr. Oddfellow. But we're here talking about the house. So the year is 1933, and we head into the Big Top to see Dr. Oddfellow's collection of horrors. So Oddfellow greets us from a stage, and behind him is also a huge star chart with the zodiac signs. And so he seeks to sacrifice souls in exchange for the power of the dark zodiac. Now, this is probably the brightest house of the year, as it has a carnival theme, so everything's lit up pretty nicely. So you know what that means. Clowns. Yep, Oddfellow sends in the clowns to murder everyone, including you. And there are twisted versions of the Zodiac throughout the house as well. For example, there's a person with crab claws, representing cancer. So towards the end of the house, we see Oddfellow murdering Jack the Clown via a projection. Now, Jack the Clown is probably the most well-known Halloween Horror Nights icon. Clown fans, this one is definitely for you. Some highlights for me were the headless guy that kind of gets beheaded and starts walking right towards you. And there's also a giant lion that lunges at you as well. Oh, and there are a ton of beheadings in this one as well. So yeah, some pretty gruesome stuff. But it does tell the backstory of Dr. Oddfellow. And really interesting house. I really enjoyed it. All right, so we've made it halfway to number 5. Dueling Dragons, Choose Thy Fate. Now, Dueling Dragons was an opening day roller coaster in the Lost Continent area at Universal's Island of Adventure theme park, which is the theme park right across the street. It was a much beloved attraction that eventually closed down to make way for Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure Coaster. So this house acts as sort of a sequel to the original attraction. So you begin by walking through this massive skull head. It's really cool looking. It's very reminiscent of like Castle Grayskull and stuff like that. So the house follows the Fire Warlock and the Ice Warlock as they break into Merlin's castle to try to steal his spell book. Now the Warlocks eventually turn into dragons, and we see their victims lying in waste. Near the end, Choose Thy Fate is carved into a wall, and then you have to choose which way to go, left or right. Left is fire, right is ice. But as the tagline states, no matter who you choose, you lose. There are 4 possible endings here, and depending on which path you choose, you may see that particular warlock brandishing Merlin's disembodied head, or you can see Merlin alive and well after winning the fight. It's a very interesting concept to a house. We knew you'd have to choose eventually, so we chose ice before we even got into the house, and we ended up with the Merlin ending. So coming in at number 4 was probably the most popular house of the night, with always the longest line. Stranger Things Season 4. So let me start this off by saying I have not seen Stranger Things, so I really wasn't expecting all that much from this one personally. And boy, was I wrong. I did read a little about the show beforehand, so I had an idea what was going on. So the house opens with you walking up toward Eddie's trailer with Chrissy contorted on the ceiling. Really cool scene here. The sets and the costumes in this house are all really pretty incredible. You get to go through the Upside Down, Hawkins National Laboratory, the Creel House, and Vecna's mine layer. So this house does mainly focus on the Vecna storyline. And I think it really works here for a house. And yes, both Master of Puppets and Running Up That Hill are both played in the house. The Master of Puppets scene is probably my favorite in the house. You got Eddie and some other guy, I don't know who he is, but they're like rocking out and all this stuff's happening behind them, and it's really, really cool scene. Also another cool scene before that where you walk in the middle of the scene, and on one side you have 11, and she's doing some kind of thing to somebody else across from you, and it's like the whole thing happens like in between you. It's really cool. So if you're a fan of the show, you've got to experience this house. It's going to blow you away. It blew me away, and I haven't even seen the damn show. There you go. All right, and number 3. This one is my favorite of the original houses. It is The Darkest Deal. Now, this house tells the tale of Pine Straw Spruce, a blues musician who trades his soul to the Collector for musical glory. Does this sound familiar? This one is loosely based on the Crossroads legend of Robert Johnson, selling his soul to the devil for musical glory. So we start off by entering Bub's Lounge as we witness Pine Straw making a deal with the Collector for musical success. We immediately meet some demons the Collector has created. Then we see Pine Straw performing on stage. We pass through a graveyard as all these demons reach out for you. But the highlight to me was definitely Pine Straw's final show as we see the Collector dragging him and us to hell. So as someone who's always been intrigued by the whole Crossroads legend to begin with, I really adored this house. Every character played their parts extremely well. We had musicians popping out at you with like a trumpet, and we had the demons reaching out for you. The scares are really well placed, and the costumes are all great. Music fans, devil fans, Crossroad fans, do not miss this house. It's really awesome. All right, top 2. This was it was kind of hard to pick one over the other, but I'm pretty happy with my choice here. At number 2, we have The Last of Us. So this house is based on the video game, not the TV show. So you enter the queue with the main theme playing. It's a really nice touch that immediately brings you into the world. We start off in abandoned Pittsburgh as we join Joel and Ellie as we try to survive all the clickers and hunters and all the other creatures along the way. Now, I played a little bit of the game and I've never seen the show, but I've got to say this house is A plus. You really feel like you were with these characters during the whole house. The mask, the makeup effects, they're all like really fantastic. The scare actors were on point. Now I don't know if the guy playing Joel in the very beginning really looks like the character in the game or if it was makeup. Yeah, it's that good. Um, Absolutely cannot miss if you're a zombie fan or you're a fan of the show or the game or any kind of survivalist type of thing. You gotta get to this house. This house is really, really cool. All right, so that brings us to the top spot, numero uno. My favorite house from HHN 2023 was The Exorcist Believer. This Blumhouse Universal house takes the top spot for me this year. Now, the movie that this is based on doesn't even come out until October the 6th. So this acts sort of as a living trailer. If the movie is anything like this house, Exorcist Believer is going to be badass. So here, two missing girls have been found with no memory of what happened to them, but wherever they went, the ultimate evil has returned with them. Enter the most terrifying scenes from the new Blumhouse film. So we start off walking through a town with tubular bells playing, and immediately it smells like vomit. It's totally disgusting. We run into a creepy doll moving on a pentagram, and then we start searching for the missing girls. We get a three-eyed demon creature and all these creepy kids running around with these like Klingon-looking foreheads running around. It's wacky. Once the girls are found, one of them gets possessed, and you walk right through the middle of the exorcism. Uh, Really cool. She's popping out at you, convulsing, and it's freaky as hell. It's great, and the scare actors were all super on point, and they all just freaked you the hell out. I cannot wait for this movie. This is going to be awesome. I have a feeling, unless the house is better than the movie, which is totally possible as well. But this house takes my number one spot. It's definitely the scariest of the houses, and there's even one point where you're walking and the floor is like glowing red, like you're in hell. Yeah, it's great. So we made it through Halloween Horror Nights alive. What a year for the houses. Uh, Truly only that one disappointing house with Chucky. I had a difficult time making this list, as all the houses were really stellar this year. We did not get a chance to watch the show, unfortunately, although I hear it's basically the same show as last time, so we didn't miss too much. We did experience most of the scare zones, which are kind of similar to the houses, just completely outdoors and in the open. With my favorite being the Vamp 69 scare zone, which was sort of like a vampire Woodstock type of deal. It was kind of cool. Overall, this was a fantastic year for the event. I'm so happy I was able to go this year. And if you do go, my suggestion is to get Express Pass to bypass these super duper long lines. It is expensive, but it is worth every single penny. And don't do any theme parks during the day. You'll need all of that energy for the event. So let me know which houses sound awesome to you, or if you went, which one was your favorite. Let me know in the comments below. And until next time, happy haunts and adios, Bella Lugosi.